Hey, welcome back. So, what do you think would happen in your life if you could retrain your brain to make more money? Would you believe it? Would you think it's possible? Would you do it? If the answer is yes, then stick around because I'm going to show you exactly how to start retraining your brain to make more money. I'm going to give you a special technique that is going to blow your mind. So, everything that we create in our lives when it comes to money or success or happiness is based on the way that our brain is programmed. And it actually is, it goes further than just the brain. It is actually a mind body connection. So, what happens is 90 to 95% of what you do, the decisions you make, the actions you take or don't take, are based on previous programming of this mind body connection. So, I'm just going to call it retraining your brain or training your brain. But keep in mind that as I'm talking about the brain, it's actually a combination of the brain and the system, the mind body system. Okay. Because what happens is you have a thought that then causes a reaction, a response in the body physiologically. So we can't talk about just the brain. I mean, we could, but that's a very superficial way to make changes. And we want to actually retrain the brain. So we need to get to what is the automatic programming that is already there that's determining what you do, what you don't do, what you think, how you respond, which is absolutely affecting how much money you can make. So it is so common for people to have a lot of worries about money. Maybe they want to make more money and they want to work less hard. They feel like they are just working day and night, not seeing the results that they want. Or maybe they're just so preoccupied and worried about money that it's going to be gone tomorrow. They don't have enough. So this video is for you if you're feeling frustrated by the current balance in your savings account, or maybe you're feeling really disappointed in how hard you've been working and you don't have the rewards to show for it. Or maybe there's just this underlying sense of worry or fear that you're never going to have enough for retirement. You're never really going to get enough money for that dream house. You're never really going to take those luxurious, extravagant vacations that you dream about. But don't worry, we can reprogram all of that. And this is exactly how I was until I started doing this work. I lived in constant money scarcity, no matter how much money I had. I was not brought up poor by any means. It was middle-class family. I went to college. I got a good degree. I have always had pretty stable income. But there was still this underlying sense of money scarcity. I was always worried about money. I was worried we weren't going to have enough money. I would be super stressed out if an unexpected bill showed up and I thought I was going to throw the whole budget off. And I just never felt super confident and secure that we will always have the amount of money that we want and need. Whenever I spent money on myself, I had this little twinge of guilt or second guessing, or maybe that buyer's remorse. I could never just enjoy spending money on myself. Or when we would go on vacations, we'd finally book a vacation and I'd spend half the time worried about how much everything costs instead of just enjoying the fact that I was on vacation with my family. And this resulted in just this feeling of just never feeling like we had enough or always feeling like we were going to run out, no matter how much we actually had. And this continued my whole life until I looked at my relationship with money. So the really important take-home message here is that your current situation financially is 100% based on your current programming. Your mind, your brain programming, whatever you want to call it, it's this automatic programming, the way that your brain is trained to respond. So what happens is 90 to 95% of what we all do on a daily basis, the decisions we make, what we do, what we don't do, is all happening automatically. And all of these automatic thoughts and emotions and actions that we take are based on our programming. But the good news is everyone has this problem and it's not your fault. The way that this programming came to be was out of your control. It was the way that you were raised. It came from your parents. It came from society. It came from your neighborhood. It just was predetermined for you. So the good news is it's not your fault. And the even better news is that it's something that can be reprogrammed because your current money situation is based on your old programming But because it's a program, because it's the way that your brain is trained, we can actually reprogram it. We can retrain the brain to have different thoughts and different emotional responses and take different actions, make different decisions, and end up in a different money situation. So now I'm going to walk you through the 5 steps to start retraining your brain. You might want to pause this, get a pen and paper, and I'm going to walk you through a process. So you can either do it, like do the full-blown process right here and now, or you can just take notes and then come back to it later and do it on your own. That's the great thing about this video. You can just pause it. This is a 5-step process. The first step is to get a really clear idea of what it is that you want. How much money do you want to make? And in what time frame? So for example, if you're an entrepreneur and you're creating this business and you have a goal of making $20,000 a month and you want to do that by the end of the year, then that's what you would write in number 1. But you want to be very specific. The more specific, the better, because then it feels real. And then I'll explain what I mean in a second. So once you are very clear on step number 1 of what it is that you want and when you want it, then number 2 is you get to start to be real. What are all of the excuses, the reasons, the stories, the circumstances, the situations that are why you don't have what you said you wanted in number 1, why you don't have that already. So if you want to make $20,000 per month, what are all the reasons or excuse or stories you tell yourself about why you don't already make $20,000 a month? So maybe you say, because I don't have enough time, or it's too hard. I don't know how to prospect, or I don't know how to network, or I hate networking, or whatever I do doesn't work. So whatever it is, those initial stories that start to explain why you don't already have the results that you want, that you wrote down in number 1, that's what you write in number 2, okay? Then number 3, and this is the most important step, is what are all of the thoughts and emotions in response to what you came up with in number 2? So this is where you really, really want to lean into your truth, and you want to avoid resisting anything that's negative that comes up. If something feels really uncomfortable, then I want you to lean into that. And I want you to really go deep to figure out why that's there. What's the underlying concern, fear, emotion that's wrapped up in that? Okay. So for example, using the example I already said, you want to make $20,000 a month by the end of the year. And when you ask yourself why you don't already make that, maybe you say, I don't have time. I've tried everything and nothing works. Then you go to number 3. What are my thoughts around that? Like what's underneath that idea of I don't have time? What don't I have time for? Why do I believe I don't have time? And what are those thoughts? And then what are the actual emotions that are associated with that thought? I don't like to network. Why not? How does that make you feel when you have to network? Or maybe you created a webinar and you were really excited about it and you had a bunch of people sign up and then made 0 sales. And so you're feeling really disappointed and frustrated and maybe a little bit of defeat or a sense of failure. So those are all of the emotions that are tied up with this reason of why you're not where you want to be, okay? Then, this is the good stuff. Step number 4 is to use a mind-body tool. I prefer tapping, where you can really spend some time acknowledging all that came up in number 2 and 3, especially the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions. And you want to tap. You want to use EFT or tapping. And I have another video that walks you through exactly how to use tapping in a case like this. But basically, you want to use some kind of mind-body tool to acknowledge and voice and really lean into, again, I'm going to say that a lot, lean into those thoughts and feelings that came up, because that is what is causing you to be where you're at right now, okay? So if you're having a lot of negative thoughts and emotions around taking action to make money, that's why you're not making more money. So we need to acknowledge that. We need to release that from the body and from the mind. And I love using tapping. It really accelerates this process. And so then once you do that, once you're able to let go of that like intense negative emotional charge, those emotions that are like trapped in your body that you can literally feel in your system, once you're able to release some of that, then you get to number 5. And number 5 is What do I want instead? What are new thoughts and new feelings that you want to have associated with this goal? And this is a pro tip here. What you really want to do is tune into what are the thoughts and feelings you would have if you already had achieved that goal. So if you already had made $20,000 per month in your business, how would you be thinking and feeling about your business, about yourself, about the actions you take, about your beliefs, about your possibility, what's possible for you, what's possible for your business, how you're creating it? And you want to really allow yourself to feel how it would feel if you actually already had your goal. And then you can tap on that. So I am open to making $20,000 a month. It's easy to make $20,000 a month. I know exactly how to make $20,000 a month. And you just, again, do that mind-body tool to just reinforce those more positive, more aligned thoughts and emotions to giving you what you want. So that is how you start to retrain your brain. But before you get to step number 5, the actual retraining, you have to acknowledge what's already there. You have to really tune into how things are already programmed. You have to acknowledge it. You have to feel it. And you have to move that energy through your system before you can truly retrain your brain. Okay? So this is the work that I did, this exact type of process that I did to let go of money scarcity. So I stopped worrying about money all the time. So I stopped assuming we weren't going to have enough. So I stopped getting bent out of shape just because we had an unexpected bill to pay. I stopped going into debt for things that I thought I should have by now. And I was able to let go of the money scarcity that was really determining all of my decisions about saving and spending and going into debt and investing, and really letting go of that idea of I have to work really hard for my money and it could disappear easily tomorrow. And then my husband, he did the same work and he's in sales. And I just want to share a really amazing result that we were able to create. We went from a combined income of $276,000 per year 2 years ago to over $400,000 per year combined income in just less than 2 years. And I attribute that to us getting really clear on what our current programming was around money and changing that, reprogramming our brain. So the less that you reinforce the old programming by just continuing to live through those automatic thoughts and emotions, the easier it's going to be to let go of the resistance that's associated with it and then get to the other side where you are able to reprogram your brain. And when you do start to reprogram your brain, you will get to where you want to be financially faster and easier. And before you know it, you'll start seeing a total difference in your bottom line or the number in your savings account, or watch that debt disappear. So I hope this was valuable. I would love to hear your feedback below in the comments after you do this 5-step process, and let me know how you're retraining your brain. Bye.